A conversation is coming for you, Scorpio, one that will not look like much from the outside, but that will quietly change everything once it has happened. By the end of this video, you will know the 11 clues that tell you this conversation is already approaching, what energy to bring when it arrives, and why this particular exchange, this one specific moment of genuine connection and truth, is the key that unlocks the next chapter of your life. Conversations have always mattered to Scorpio in ways that go beyond the surface. You are a sign that listens to what is not being said as much as to what is. You feel the undercurrents. You hear the truth beneath the words. And the conversation that is coming for you now is one where all of that capacity for deep hearing will be called into full use and rewarded. Something is going to be said or understood or finally voiced that changes the equation of your life in a way that nothing else could. All 11 clues are already present. Let me show you where to find them. Clue 1. The first clue that an important conversation is coming is the growing sense that something in your life has been left unsaid for too long. Not something trivial, not a small annoyance or a passing thought, something essential. Something that has been living in the back of your mind, and sometimes moving to the front of it for months. A truth you have been holding but not speaking. A question you have been carrying but not asking. A feeling that has been present and real and significant, but that has not yet found its way out of the private space of your inner world and into the shared space of conversation. Scorpio carries things quietly. You are capable of holding an enormous amount inside yourself without showing it. And this is both a strength and sometimes a burden. The strength is that you do not scatter your inner life carelessly. The burden is that things that need to be spoken, things that would release pressure and create clarity and build genuine connection if they were shared, can stay locked inside for longer than is good for you or for your relationships. The growing sense of something unsaid is not discomfort for no reason. It is the pressure of a truth that has been contained reaching the point where containment is no longer serving you. Something in you has decided, perhaps slowly and perhaps without full conscious intention, that the time has come. That whatever consequence the speaking carries is worth it. That the weight of the unsaid has become heavier than the weight of the said. And this decision, this quiet inner readiness to finally speak, is the first clue that the conversation is near. Notice what keeps rising to the surface of your mind lately, what you find yourself thinking about in the quiet moments, what feels just on the edge of your tongue. That is the content of the coming conversation beginning to organize itself. That is the truth that is ready to be spoken. And when the conversation arrives, you will recognize it, because you have been preparing for it, perhaps without realizing it, for longer than you might expect. Clue 2. The second clue is a shift in your tolerance for pretense. Something in you has become unable or simply unwilling to continue with the surface-level version of things, the conversations that stay comfortable and shallow and safe, the interactions where everyone plays a role and no one says what is actually true. This shift is happening in multiple areas of your life, but it is particularly noticeable in your most significant relationships. The ones where there has been, for a while, a quality of conversation that does not quite reach the real thing. Scorpio has a low tolerance for inauthenticity in general, but that tolerance has a way of fluctuating depending on your inner state. When you are depleted or guarded or in a period of self-protection, you can manage the surface level for a time. It costs more, but you can do it. When you are in a period of genuine inner movement, however, when something in your depths is actively engaged and alive, the surface level becomes not just uncomfortable but genuinely intolerable. You feel the distance between what is being said and what is true as a kind of pain. That intolerance is the second clue. It means your inner depths are engaged. It means you are in one of those periods where the real thing is not just desirable but necessary, where you need genuine exchange, genuine contact, genuine truth spoken and received, in order to function at the level you are capable of. The coming conversation is the universe's response to that need. It is the moment when the surface level will finally give way to something more real. And you are closer to that moment than you realize. Notice where you are feeling the most impatience with pretense. Notice the relationships where the real conversation feels closest to the surface, where you can almost feel both people wanting to say something true but holding back just slightly. Those are the spaces where the coming conversation will most likely find its opening. Clue 3. There is a person in your life, or there is about to be, who carries a particular quality of honesty that is unusual and striking. Someone who does not seem to need to perform or to manage how they are perceived. Someone whose presence has a quality of directness that you find both refreshing and slightly unsettling. in the way that all truly honest things are slightly unsettling when we are used to more careful interaction. This person is the third clue, because the conversation that changes everything does not happen in a vacuum, it happens with someone. And the someone is already entering or deepening their place in your life. For Scorpio, who you speak with matters as much as what is spoken. You are not the kind of person who opens up easily or universally. You choose your confidants carefully, you test for trustworthiness before you trust, and you hold back the deeper contents of yourself until you are reasonably certain they will be received well. This is wisdom, not fear. But it also means that when the right person appears, the one with the particular combination of depth and honesty and genuine interest in you that Scorpio requires before it will truly open, it is a significant event. This person's presence in your life right now, or their imminent arrival, is the universe's way of creating the conditions for the coming conversation. You cannot have this conversation with just anyone. It requires a specific kind of witness, someone who can hold what you say, who will not flinch or minimize or redirect it into something more comfortable. Someone who meets your depth with their own depth. Watch for this quality in the people around you. When you feel it in someone, that particular quality of genuine, undefended presence, recognize it as the third clue that the conversation is very near. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Clue 4. The fourth clue is the way your listening has changed. You are hearing things differently lately, not because the world is saying different things, but because you are present to it in a new way. Conversations you might have only half engaged with before are now holding your full attention. Things people say that would previously have slipped past are now landing, registering, finding their significance. Even the conversations you have with yourself, the inner monologue, the running commentary of your own mind, are carrying a different quality. More honest, more attentive to the real thing underneath the habitual thought. This changed quality of listening is preparation. It is as though your ears and your heart are clearing themselves of old habits and patterns, making room for something that requires full and genuine attention when it arrives. The conversation that changes everything cannot be half heard. It cannot be processed through the filter of distraction or defensiveness or preoccupation. It needs to be fully received, in every nuance and layer. And your listening is developing right now, exactly the quality of presence that reception will require. Scorpio is, at your best, one of the most extraordinary listeners of any sign. You hear everything, the words, the tone, the pauses, the things that are not said. You feel the emotional undercurrent of a conversation, even when the surface remains calm. And you have the capacity to hold what you hear with a depth of understanding that most people never experience being on the receiving end of. When you bring all of that to the coming conversation, when you listen to it the way you are being prepared to listen right now, it will be a transformative experience not just for you but for the person speaking with you. Notice, in the days ahead, those moments when you catch yourself listening with unusual depth. When something lands with unexpected significance. When the quality of your presence in a conversation shifts from ordinary engagement to something more intentional and more alive. Those are rehearsals for the conversation that is coming. Clue 5. Something in you is ready to be understood, not just heard but genuinely understood. And this readiness is the fifth clue. For a long time, perhaps without fully acknowledging it, you have been carrying a kind of loneliness that has nothing to do with the number of people in your life. It is the loneliness of someone whose inner world is rich and complex and deep, who has a great deal to say and to share, but who has not found the consistent and trustworthy space in which to say it and share it fully. This loneliness is common among Scorpios. Your depth can make you feel simultaneously more connected and more alone than other people. More connected because you feel everything so intensely, more alone because not everyone has the capacity to meet you where you are. The coming conversation is the universe's response to this loneliness. It is the moment when someone, perhaps someone you already know, perhaps someone you are about to meet, truly sees you. Not the surface version of you, not the capable and managed and carefully presented version, but the actual you, the full, complex, feeling, sometimes struggling, deeply alive version. And what happens when you are truly seen for Scorpio is not just a pleasant emotional experience. It is transformative. It is the thing that makes the rest of your life feel more possible. You have been holding this readiness, this desire to be genuinely known, with characteristic Scorpio restraint. You have not advertised it, have not demanded it, have perhaps not even fully admitted it to yourself. But it is there. And the conversation that is coming is the moment when what you have been holding in quiet readiness finally finds its match. When someone arrives who is genuinely capable of understanding you, and who genuinely wants to. Clue 6. Your dreams and your quiet moments have been full of conversation lately. Not literal ones, but the imagined kind. The ones where you rehearse saying something important, or where you imagine a particular kind of exchange with someone, or where you find yourself in your most private thinking, composing the words you have been unable to say out loud. This internal rehearsal is the 6th clue, and it is one of the most reliable. Scorpio does not rehearse things casually. When you find your inner world occupied with imagined conversations, when you are turning over the words, trying different approaches, feeling out what it would mean to actually say the true thing, it means something real is building toward expression. The imagination is not wasting its time. It is doing the necessary preparatory work for the actual moment when the actual words will be spoken in an actual conversation with an actual person. Think about what you have been rehearsing in your mind lately. What conversations have been playing out in the private theater of your imagination? What have you been wanting to say, to ask, to explain, to express, that has not yet found its way out of the imagined and into the real? The content of your internal rehearsals is the content of the coming conversation. The universe is giving you the time and space to prepare, to find the words, to feel the feelings that accompany them, to get comfortable with the vulnerability of saying what is actually true. When the real conversation arrives, you will be ready. Not perfectly ready. No one is ever perfectly ready for a conversation that matters. But ready enough, present enough, honest enough. And that combination of readiness and honesty, brought to the right moment with the right person, is what changes everything. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Clue 7. A particular relationship in your life has been in a state of quiet tension, not conflict exactly, but a kind of holding pattern where both parties seem to be waiting for something, though neither has quite said what that something is. This holding pattern is the 7th clue. Because the conversation that changes everything often arrives to break exactly this kind of impasse, not with drama or accusation, but with the simple and courageous act of saying something true. For Scorpio, relationships are not light affairs. They are profound investments, entered with care and maintained with deep intention. And when something is unresolved in a significant relationship, you feel it constantly, in the slight stiffness of your interactions, in the things you avoid saying, in the way certain topics get steered around rather than moved through. This avoidance has a cost. It costs intimacy, and it costs ease, and over time it costs the sense of genuine partnership that makes relationships worth having. The coming conversation is going to address this. Not by solving everything, one conversation rarely solves everything, but by creating the opening that has been needed. By breaking through the surface to the real layer where the real feelings and needs and truths live. And this breakthrough, when it comes, will not feel like destruction. It will feel like relief. Like finally breathing fully after a long time of shallow breaths. Like the room getting warmer and the air getting clearer and the two of you actually seeing each other again rather than seeing the careful versions you have been presenting. Watch for the moment in this relationship when the holding pattern shifts, when something creates an opening of vulnerability, a moment of genuine humanity that makes the real conversation possible. That moment may be small and simple. A look, or a pause, or an unexpected admission of feeling. When you see it, lean in rather than away. Clue 8. Your own inner conversation is becoming more honest. The way you talk to yourself, the internal narrative that runs continuously beneath your conscious thoughts, is shifting from the version that manages and edits and protects towards something more direct and more true. This is the 8th clue, and it is one that you might overlook because it is happening in a space where no one else can observe it. But it matters enormously, because the honesty you are developing with yourself is the foundation on which every other conversation rests. You cannot speak truth to others more fully than you are willing to speak it to yourself. And for a while, there has been a gap between what you actually think and feel and need, and what you are willing to acknowledge in your own inner hearing. Not deception exactly. More like a softening of the sharpest edges, a willingness to accept less than full clarity in order to avoid the discomfort that full clarity sometimes brings. You have been rounding certain corners rather than navigating them precisely. Over the coming days, that rounding is giving way to more honest navigation. You are finding the courage, and it does require courage, to say things to yourself that you have been skirting around. To look directly at a feeling rather than just catching it in your peripheral vision. To admit a need or a desire or a disappointment with full clarity, rather than the usual softened version. This internal honesty is the most important preparation you can do for the coming conversation. Because when you are truly honest with yourself, the right words for honest conversation with others become available in a way they cannot be otherwise. Keep talking to yourself honestly in the days ahead. Keep choosing the clearer, truer version of things in your own private inner hearing. You are building something real in there. You are building the capacity for the conversation that changes everything. Clue 9. Your instincts about timing have been sharpening. There is a particular quality of knowing, not intellectual knowledge, but the felt sense of rightness about when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to be silent, when to move forward and when to hold still. That Scorpio accesses through intuition. And lately this intuitive timing sense has been more active, more reliable, and more clear than usual. This is the 9th clue. The coming conversation will need to arrive at the right moment. Not just in terms of practical logistics, though those matter too, but in terms of inner readiness, in terms of the emotional and relational ground being prepared and receptive, in terms of both parties being in a state where genuine exchange can happen rather than defensive exchange. Timing is not trivial when it comes to a conversation that matters. The same words spoken in the wrong moment fall flat or land badly. Spoken in the right moment, they change everything. Your intuitive timing sense is being sharpened right now precisely because you will need it. You will need to feel, when the opportunity presents itself, whether this is the moment or not. Whether the atmosphere is right. Whether the person across from you is open and present enough to receive what you want to say. Whether you yourself are grounded and clear enough to say it well. Your instincts will tell you. They have always told you. And right now they are more refined and more reliable than they have been in a while. Trust them. When they say wait, wait. When they say now, move now. The conversation that changes everything will happen at exactly the right moment. And your job is simply to be attentive enough to recognize that moment when it arrives, and courageous enough to step into it fully. Clue 10. The 10th clue is a growing sense of readiness that has been building quietly over recent weeks. A readiness not for something to happen to you, but for something to happen because of you. For Scorpio, there is a significant difference between receiving change and participating in it. For a period of time, you have been largely in a receiving mode, processing, waiting, observing, managing what comes rather than initiating what comes. And that mode has served you. It has allowed a necessary inner reorganization to happen. But now, the reorganization is largely complete. And what is rising in its place is the readiness to be active again, to initiate, to reach, to make something happen rather than simply responding to what does. This readiness is the soil in which the coming conversation will grow. Because a conversation that changes everything requires someone to begin it. Someone has to decide to say the thing, to ask the question, to step across the distance that has accumulated between the surface and the real. And for Scorpio, in this particular moment, that someone is likely to be you. Not because the responsibility is yours by default, but because you are the one who is ready. Because you are the one who has been doing the inner work. Because you are the one whose inner readiness has arrived at the point of action. This is not a burden. It is an invitation. The universe is not asking you to carry something you should not carry. It is recognizing that you are the one who is prepared to move. And it is offering you the opportunity to move first. That first movement, that initial act of courage and honesty, is what creates the conversation. And what the conversation creates is the next chapter of your life. Clue 11. The 11th and final clue is the simplest and the most profound. It is the felt sense that something is about to change in your life in a way that cannot be undone, in a way that you will look back on and recognize as the moment when the path shifted. This felt sense is not anxiety. It is not dread. It is more like the feeling before a storm that everyone knows is coming, a charged quality in the air, an awareness that the atmosphere is shifting, a readiness that does not quite know what it is ready for but knows with certainty that readiness is the right response. Scorpio has felt this before. You know this feeling from previous thresholds in your life, from the moments just before something that mattered arrived or departed or transformed. and you have learned through experience that this feeling can be trusted, that it is accurate, that when your inner knowing announces that something is about to change, something is about to change. And the question is not whether it will happen, but whether you will meet it fully or partially, with your whole self or with your careful, managed, held-back self. The conversation that is coming is asking for your whole self. Not your performance, not your defended version, not the Scorpio who has learned to be impressive and capable and difficult to wound. Your actual self, the one who feels deeply and cares enormously and wants things sincerely, and has worked harder than anyone knows to become who you are. That self is the one this conversation needs. And it is the one you are finally genuinely ready to bring. You have two options after this video: close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are. All 11 clues are pointing to the same thing, Scorpio. Conversation is coming. And when it arrives, you will know it because it will carry the particular quality of something that was always meant to happen, always meant to find you, always meant to be the moment that changes everything. Be ready, be open, be honest, and most of all, be fully yourself when it arrives. That is all it asks, and that for you is everything.